It's Montana's ultimate chicken showdown, and for a limited time, we're
ride his motorcycle down the tunnels, and when he 10 unsolved mysteries of Nazi Germany. Number 10. What was Die Glock? In 2000, Igor Vitovsky published a book called The Truth About the Wonder Weapon, which referenced a German secret weapon called Die Glock, or the Bell. The weapon was a giant metallic bell-shaped device. It was 3 meters wide and approximately 4 meters high, containing 2 counter-rotating cylinders filled with Zerum 525, a violet mercury-like substance. According to Nick Cook, the effects of the bell included a strong radiation field, one that supposedly killed a number of scientists working on the project by breaking their organic tissue down into a gel-like substance. Historians and conspiracy theorists alike have questioned where the location of such a device could be. Cook states that the bell was handed to the Americans in a deal with SS General Hans Kammler, while Vitovsky alleges that it ended up in a Nazi-friendly South American country. One theorist, Joseph Farrell, said the Nazis killed up to 60 scientists connected to Die Glock in order to keep its location hidden. Where the device is and whether it even existed at all still remains a mystery. Number 9. How did Geli Raubal die? Geli Raubal was Hitler's half-niece. Hitler doted on her, but his devotion was marked by extreme possession and jealousy. On the night of the 18th of September 1931, Hitler and Geli were heard having a loud argument before he left for a meeting in Nuremberg. Later that night, Geli was dead, aged just 23. She had what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the chest. Immediately, rumours circled accusing Hitler of her death. She had been killed with Hitler's personal pistol, a half-finished letter to a friend was on a nearby table, and she appeared to have suffered a broken nose. Curiously, the first policeman on the scene was Gestapo chief Heinrich Müller, who pocketed the letter and pistol before leaving. A local journalist, Fritz Gerlich, investigated the matter and claimed that Hitler had never left for Nuremberg at all, but had instead returned to the apartment after dinner at a local restaurant. Geli's death was eventually ruled a suicide, and both Gerlich and the owner of the restaurant were killed during the 1934 massacre known as the Night of the Long Knives. Number 8. What happened to U-530? Following the death of Adolf Hitler on the 30th of April 1945, command of the disintegrating Third Reich passed to Admiral Karl Donitz. 8 days later, Germany surrendered unconditionally, and Donitz ordered that all remaining U-boats of the Kriegsmarine be surrendered to Allied ports. However, one ship, U-530, didn't arrive at port until the 10th of July 1945, approximately 2 months after the order to surrender. Curiously, there was no explanation from Captain Oberleutnant Vermuth as to why it had taken them so long to reach port, why no crew members carried identification, why the ship's log was missing, or even how the deck gun had been destroyed. Even more intriguing, a US C-4 intelligence report noted the arrival of an unknown ship in the Coronel Dorrego district of Buenos Aires during the U-530's missing months, allegedly landing with a high-ranking officer and a civilian. The report claims that these individuals bore a surprising resemblance to Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun. If this ship could be proved to be the U-530, it would add shockingly strong support to the controversial theory that Hitler didn't commit suicide in that bunker and instead escaped to Argentina. Number 7. Who were the Thule Society? One of the most intriguing legends of the Nazi regime concerns the Thule Society, a German occultist group formed in Munich in the dying days of World War I. According to the historian Ian Kershaw, the society's membership included a high number of leading figures in the Nazi Party. The society was officially dissolved in the 1920s after political altercations with the newly formed Nazis, but rumours about their more secretive activities have persisted. Thule member Heinrich Himmler would go on to form the SS, whose hierarchy and belief in racial purity is believed to have mimicked that of the Thule Society. This Thule purity manifested itself in later SS operations, such as Lebensborn, the selection of suitably Aryan children for kidnapped from occupied territories. The Thule Society has also been linked to satanic worship. According to conspiracy theorist and author Trevor Ravenscroft, the group would also hold seances and sessions of sexual magic, from which they would hope to gain wisdom. However, without solid evidence about the full society in Nazi Germany, it seems that the full extent of their influence is destined to remain a mystery. Number 6. Rudolf Hess's flight to Scotland. Rudolf Hess, the deputy Führer of Nazi Germany, was reputed to be Hitler's oldest, most loyal follower. He was the man who Hitler dictated Mein Kampf to while in prison. It is therefore difficult to understand why, in May 1941, he flew solo to Scotland and deliberately crash-landed his plane, allowing himself to be arrested and imprisoned by the British. Hess had claimed that he was on a mission to negotiate terms of peace with the United Kingdom, allegedly without the knowledge of Hitler. But then, according to historian Matthias Uhl, there is evidence that Hitler had known about the flight, and that Berlin had indeed been negotiating with London for some time, in order to pursue Hitler's aims against the Soviet Union unhindered. However, this is contrary to contemporary reports that Hitler was actually outraged by Hess's betrayal. So what the hell was going on? There is also an air of mystery around Hess's death in 1987, when he hanged himself in prison. Hess's own son claims that as a frail 93-year-old, he was too infirm to kill himself and was instead murdered by the British Secret Service to prevent information about the flight leaking to the public. Number 5. The British SS. In 2009, Polish historian Dominik Sinowicz was conducting routine preservation work at the Auschwitz concentration camp when he uncovered a list containing 17 names. Unlike anything else found at the camp before, the names were all of English origin, such as Osborne, Lawrence and Gardner. On the back in German are words that translate as now, never and since then. The names also have checks by the side. Sinowicz and fellow historian Piotr Setkiewicz have so far only managed to trace one of the men believed to be on the list. James William Gardner was a British POW who died during a US air raid and is buried in Krakow, but little is known of the other names on the list. Some suspect that they could have been members of the British Free Corps, British fascists and POWs who were offered the chance to join the Waffen-SS. An estimated 54 men are believed to have joined the Corps, but sometimes for only a few days. This hypothesis is plausible given that the list was found between the SS-run Auschwitz and a nearby POW camp, but it cannot be conclusively confirmed. Number 4. The disappearance of Heinrich Müller. In 1939, policeman Heinrich Müller was promoted to the role of chief of the Gestapo, the political secret police of Nazi Germany. Under his leadership, the Gestapo eradicated many domestic resistance movements and